August 27th, Kenya promulgated a new constitution. And unlike the previous legal frameworks, this constitution entrenched integrity, accountability, and transparency as a constitutional imperative.
If there are also documents showing the name, the address of the person who made that information, subsection 2 provides that it is not expected to be made public. And if they want to be admitted in evidence in court, the judge shall direct that the name of the person making the information, the address, should be taken away.
Hello, viewers, and welcome to this week's edition of Transparency Files. I am your host, Murna Barnabas Atiai. Information sharing is critical in winning the fight against corruption because corruption often involves multiple individuals, institutions, and complex networks that cannot be uncovered by a single agency working alone. Timely and accurate exchange of information among anti-corruption agencies, law enforcement bodies, financial institutions, government ministries, and the public, including nations, help to detect suspicious activities, trace illicit funds, identify corrupt practices, and ensure swift investigation and prosecution of offenders. Our focus today on the program is on a recently held groundbreaking diplomatic dialogue hosted by ICPC in partnership with Kenya's Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission through its High Commissioner in Nigeria. Before we delve into our focus, let us join Ruth Awodi for Anti-Corruption Stories. Later in the program, we shall bring you reports from our state offices and an edition of Know Your Act and other exciting segments. Stay with us.
Welcome to this segment on Anti-Corruption Stories. I am Ruth Awodi. The chairman of ICPC, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliyu, SAN, has called for a strategic shift in the global fight against environmental crime, arguing that wildlife trafficking must be treated as a form of organized financial crime rather than a mere conversation issue. Speaking at the 35th session of the Commission on Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice, CCPCJ, Dr. Aliyu emphasized that the survival of wildlife trafficking networks is fundamentally tied to the enabling environment created by corruption. He noted that illicit actors rely on bribery at ports, the manipulation of customs documentation, and the abuse of export permits to move products across borders. In a significant policy announcement, the chairman revealed that ICPC has established a dedicated unit focused specifically on environmental crime investigations. This move represents a strategic decision to accord environmental crime the same level of priority historically reserved for money laundering and terrorism financing. He further highlighted the success of international partnerships, specifically commending the Environmental Investigation Agency, EIA UK, for their collaborative efforts with ICPC in strengthening institutional responses. That will be all on this segment. Transparency Files continues with Murna.
Fellow Nigerians, do you know that constituency projects are actually your projects? Do you know that constituency projects are funded by the federal government? Do you know that you can track release of constituency project funds for projects located in your constituency and follow up to know how they have been executed? Constituency projects happen because government does not want to leave any community out in development efforts. You have a responsibility to know what constituency project has been planned for your community, how much has been allocated for it, and whether value for money has been delivered. Take ownership of constituency projects located in your community. Protect them because they belong to you. Government knows about your needs and is planning for you. Government needs your help to ensure quality delivery. Know that constituency projects are actually your projects. Protect your constituency project. My constituency, my project.
For information on funds allocated to projects in your constituency, call 0800 2255 4272.
This message is from the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission and the National Orientation Agency.
You're watching Transparency Files. In his welcome address, the Provost of Akan, Professor Sharif Gali Ibrahim, underscored the importance of mutual learning and international cooperation in institutional development. He explained that Kenya was selected for the Maiden Dialogue because of its resilient anti-corruption history and notable achievements, including significant asset recoveries and the successful deployment of digital governance platforms that have drastically reduced bribery opportunities.
The Kenyans are resilient people, tenacious and highly spirited on issues that affect national development. They first fought colonial corruption through the Mau Mau movement, which crippled dehumanization, seizure of native people's land, suppression and oppression of the great Kenyan people, until freedom was attained on 12 December 1963. Kenya has been able to achieve key institutional and legal frameworks on anti-corruption as follows: the Asset Recovery through the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, strengthened legal architecture, enactment of progressive legislation such as the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, the Leadership and Integrity Act, and the Process of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act.
Delivering his address at the event, ICPC Chairman Dr. Musa Adamu Aliyu SAN described the forum as a unique platform for international engagement, knowledge exchange, and collaborative learning, one designed to sharpen anti-corruption frameworks throughout Africa. Highlighting the persistent threat that corruption poses to sustainable development, economic growth, social justice, and public trust, the ICPC chairman stressed that only evidence-based prevention methods could yield lasting results.
The theme of this diplomatic dialogue, experience sharing in anti-corruption strategy, the Kenyan perspective. It is both relevant and timely. Corruption remains a major impediment to sustainable development, economic growth, social justice, and public trust in institutions. It is proven that corruption is a worldwide phenomenon, afflicting nations of the world in varying degrees and intensity, depending on the level of deliberate and strategic actions taken against it. It is also empirical that corruption has devastating effects and consequences on political, social, and developmental strides of nations and organizations that allow it to thrive unchecked.
In a nod to the Kenyan experience, he commended the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission's initiatives, noting that lessons from their journey could serve as a catalyst for transformative action in other African countries. Let's take a listen.
Kenya has made noble efforts in advancing anti-corruption reforms. That is why we are here today, to learn from their experiences. As Nigeria continues to deepen its anti-corruption efforts, there is much value in learning from comparative experiences, understanding best practices, and identifying innovative approaches that can be adapted to our local realities.
You're welcome back. Presenting the keynote address, the Kenyan High Commissioner to Nigeria, Ambassador Isaac King Parashina, traced the evolution of Kenya's anti-corruption framework. He identified the country's 2010 constitution as a landmark reform that entrenched integrity, transparency, and accountability as national values.
Kenya's anti-corruption journey has been characterized by continuous reforms aimed at strengthening institutions, enhancing accountability, promoting integrity, and improving coordination among government agencies. While challenges remain, significant progress has been achieved in 2010, which was a turning point for Kenya. In August 27th, Kenya promulgated a new constitution. And unlike the previous legal frameworks, this constitution entrenched integrity, accountability, and transparency as a constitutional imperative.
He further highlighted the establishment of key institutions such as the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, and the Asset Recovery Agency.
Kenya established in 1997 the Kenya Anti-Corruption Authority, which was the dedicated agency to deal with anti-corruption. It had constitutional challenges to deal with and legal status and powers to effectively deal with corruption. So in 2003, there were new initiatives which saw the enactment of the Anti-Corruption and the Economic Crimes Act, which is still enforced to date in 2003, and the Public Officers Ethics Act, which was also enacted the same year. These laws established the Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission, which is CAC, and introduced more structured anti-corruption measures.
Ambassador Parashina also outlined Kenya's legislative and institutional reforms while noting that specialized anti-corruption courts and a coordinated multi-agency approach had enhanced Kenya's capacity to investigate, prosecute, and recover the proceeds of corruption.
Importantly, we have the judiciary, and as you know, that Kenya established the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Courts to hear corruption-related matters and asset recovery cases. While it may not have done some of these things expeditiously, but now it's important to note that there's a dedicated arm of the judiciary or a court in the judiciary that specifically deal with the corruption matters, so that it's not left to the mix of other cases.
Thank you for staying with us. How well do you know the ICPC Act 2000? Did you know that you are protected under the law when you report corruption to the Commission? Many Nigerians are unaware that the law is on their side. If you want to understand how that works, watch this as a lawyer from our legal department breaks it down.
For a fact, over the years, the anti-corruption agencies, the civil society groups, they've been advocating for a comprehensive legal framework that will give protection to information and informants, what is usually called the whistleblower protection law. Although we do not have that in place yet in Nigeria, but there are some level of protection that the provisions of the existing law, like the ICPC Act, provides for informants and information they give to ICPC. One such protection comes in the provision in section 64, sub 1 and sub 2 of the ICPC Act. In those sections, provision is made for the protection of the information, the identity, for example, the name, the address of the person who gives such information. They are not supposed to be disclosed to any other person or to members of the public other than to a judge if the case is in court and the defense counsel. If there are also documents showing the name, the address of the person who made that information, subsection 2 provides that it is not expected to be made public. And if they want to be admitted in evidence in court, the judge shall direct that the name of the person making the information, the address, should be taken away. This provision is aimed at protecting the very person of the person making any information or giving information to ICPC, such that they will not be subjected to harassment and kind of victimization. So this provision is, in essence, encouraging everyone who has useful information to give to the ICPC to do so without being afraid of the fact that the information will be disclosed to the person you are making it against or to members of the public. So we encourage everyone to please come with any information that will be useful to ICPC, and you'll be rest assured that your identity and everything about your person will be protected under this provision.
I am a Nigerian, a highly cultured race. My culture abhors corruption, and with my integrity, a new Nigeria is possible. I say no to corruption today to build a future for my children. Join me and imbibe the culture of integrity to build a Nigeria of our dreams.
You're watching Transparency Files. Before we wrap up, let us join Khadija Ibrahim as she gives us update from our state offices.
A report from Rivers State reveals that ICPC has inaugurated the Anti-Corruption and Transparency Unit, Act 2, at the Federal College of Education, Omoku. The resident Anti-Corruption Commissioner, Mrs. Ekere Usiere, emphasized that Act 2 remains one of the Commission's most effective preventive mechanisms for addressing corruption within public institutions. She stressed the role of Act 2 in promoting integrity and accountability within public institutions and urged the new members to carry out their duties with fairness, diligence, and professionalism. Coming from Edo State, the resident Anti-Corruption Commissioner, Barrister Ebenezer Shogunle, has paid a courtesy visit to the Registrar and Chief Executive Officer of the National Business and Technical Examinations Board, NABTEB, Dr. Aminu Muhammad, at the board's headquarters in Benin City. Barrister Shogunle highlighted the dangers of examination malpractice and certificate forgery, while Dr. Muhammad Aminu reiterated NABTEB's commitment to maintaining the credibility of its examinations through technology-driven monitoring systems. And from Sokoto State, ICPC has received the Area Manager of the National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, Sokoto Area Office, Mr. Abdulkadir K. Yusuf, on a courtesy visit aimed at strengthening collaboration between the two agencies. The delegation was received by the resident Anti-Corruption Commissioner, Mr. Shintema P. Binga, who highlighted the Commission's mandate and emphasized corruption prevention as a key strategy in the fight against corruption. He assured NIWA of ICPC's support through training and enlightenment programs for its staff.
today's interconnected world, corruption frequently crosses institutional and national boundaries. Therefore, information sharing at both national and international levels is essential for tracking assets, recovering stolen funds, and dismantling corruption networks. Ultimately, a robust information sharing framework enhances trust, improves governance, and significantly increases the effectiveness of anti-corruption efforts. That's all time will permit us to take on this week's edition of our program. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms showing on your screen. You can also watch other editions of the program on YouTube at ICPC Nigeria. See you again next week. My name is Murna Barnabas Atiai. It's bye for now.